I used to think I knew my wife. 5 years of marriage, and I believed we had the kind of trust most couples only dream about. That Tuesday morning, I watched Sarah sleep peacefully in our bed, her hair spread across the pillow like it always did. She had come home late the night before, apologizing about another client dinner that ran long. I kissed her forehead before heading to work, completely unaware that my entire world was built on lies. I had no idea that in less than 24 hours, I would walk out of that house and never look back. Before I tell you what happened next, drop a comment, letting me know where you are watching from. If you have ever felt blindsided by someone you trusted, hit that like button because you will understand exactly how this feels. And subscribe because this story gets darker before it gets better. Trust me, you will want to see how this ends. So here is how everything fell apart. Sarah and I met at an art gallery opening in Portland 7 years ago. She was standing in front of a massive abstract painting, tilting her head like she was trying to decode some hidden message. I made a joke about how it looked like someone had sneezed paint onto a canvas, and she laughed. That laugh. It was genuine and bright, and it pulled me in immediately. We spent the next 3 hours talking about everything and nothing. 6 months later, I proposed on the same spot where we met. She worked in marketing for a mid-sized firm downtown, handling accounts for tech companies and startups. I was a software engineer building applications that most people would never see, but that kept entire systems running smoothly. We bought a small house in the suburbs, adopted 2 cats named Pepper and Salt, and talked constantly about having kids. Maybe in another year or two, we would say, when the time is right. About 6 months ago, Sarah got promoted to senior account manager. It was a huge deal. More responsibility, better pay, and access to bigger clients. I was genuinely proud of her. She had worked incredibly hard to get there, putting in long hours and going above and beyond on every project. But with the promotion came longer days. Client meetings that stretched into evenings, weekend conferences, business dinners that sometimes did not end until 10 or 11 at night. I never questioned it. Why would I? Sarah had always been ambitious, and I respected that about her. When she would come home, exhausted, smelling faintly of wine, and explaining how demanding her new clients were, I would rub her shoulders and tell her how amazing she was doing. I trusted her completely. That trust, I would learn, was the biggest mistake of my life. That evening, everything changed. Sarah was in the shower, singing something off-key like she always did. Her phone was sitting on the kitchen counter face up. I was not the kind of person who snooped. I never had been. But when the screen lit up with a text message, I could not help but see it. The preview was right there, impossible to miss. The contact name was just a single letter, D, and the message read, "Cannot wait to see you tomorrow. Last night was incredible." My stomach dropped. For a moment I thought maybe I had misread it. Maybe it was a work thing. Maybe D was a client and last night meant some successful presentation. But I knew. Deep down I already knew. My hand started shaking as I picked up the phone. I knew her passcode. She had never hidden it from me. 4 digits that unlocked everything. I opened the messages. There were hundreds of them. Weeks and weeks of conversations that made me feel physically sick. Inside jokes. Pet names. Plans to meet at hotels. Explicit photos that I wish I could unsee. This was not some mistake or one-time slip-up. This was an affair. Deliberate. Ongoing. Calculated. 3 months' worth of lies right there in digital black and white. I sat down on the kitchen floor, the phone still in my hand. The world felt like it was tilting. Sarah was still singing in the shower, completely oblivious. I could hear the water running, hear her humming, and all I could think was how many times she had come home and kissed me after being with him. How many times she had looked me in the eye and lied. When she walked out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel, her hair dripping wet, she was smiling. That smile disappeared the second she saw me holding her phone. "Who is D?" I asked. My voice sounded strange, like it was coming from somewhere far away. Her face went through about 5 different expressions in 2 seconds. Shock, fear, and then something I did not expect. Anger. "You went through my phone," she said, her voice rising. "That is a complete violation of my privacy, Joey. You had no right." I could not believe what I was hearing. She was turning this around on me. I just discovered she had been cheating for 3 months, and she was mad about privacy. "Are you serious right now?" I stood up still, holding the phone. You have been having an affair, and you are upset that I found out." She grabbed the phone from my hand and clutched it against her chest, like I was the criminal. "It is not that simple." "Then explain it to me. Make it simple." What came next was not an apology. It was not even remorse. It was justification. Sarah told me we had grown apart, that I was always working, always focused on my projects, that Dee understood her in ways I apparently did not. She said it just happened like affairs or something that accidentally occur, like tripping over a crack in the sidewalk. "How long?" I asked. She hesitated. 3 months. 3 months. 90 days of her waking up next to me, kissing me goodbye, and then going to be with someone else. 90 days of elaborate lies about client meetings and work dinners. 90 days of me being completely oblivious, while everyone around us probably knew. "Do you even feel bad?" I asked. "Of course I do," she said, but her tone was defensive, not remorseful. "But you are not innocent in this either. You stopped paying attention to me. You stopped making an effort." I felt like I was going to be sick. She was blaming me for her choice to cheat. This was not a conversation. It was an ambush. Sarah wanted to talk. She kept saying we needed to handle this like adults, that we could work through it, that maybe we should try couples therapy. She talked for almost 2 hours, pacing around the living room in her bathrobe, explaining and justifying and rationalizing. Not once did she actually say she was sorry. Not once did she take real responsibility. Around 2 in the morning, she finally got tired. "We will figure this out tomorrow," she said, like we were discussing what to have for dinner. Then she went to bed. I sat on the couch staring at our wedding photos on the wall. Every memory felt contaminated now. Every smile in those pictures felt like a lie. But I was not crying. I was not yelling. I was just numb. And in that numbness, a decision started forming. Clear, simple, final. By the time the sun came up, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I was not going to fight. I was not going to argue or beg or try to understand. Sarah did not deserve my explanations or my anger or my pain. She did not deserve anything from me at all. I was going to disappear. I called my boss at 7:30 and told him I needed to take a week of personal leave. Family emergency. He did not ask questions. Then I waited. Sarah woke up at 8, got ready for work like nothing had happened, and came downstairs in her usual business casual outfit. She hugged me before she left. Actually hugged me. "We will fix this," she whispered against my shoulder. "I promise." I nodded. I did not say a word. The second her car pulled out of the driveway, I started moving. First, I called a divorce lawyer. I had spent half the night researching attorneys in Portland, reading reviews, checking credentials. I found someone with a reputation for being efficient and no nonsense. His name was Mr. Harrison. I explained the situation over the phone, and he told me to come in that afternoon. He had an opening at 3. Then I started packing. I did not take much. Clothes, my laptop. Important documents like my birth certificate and passport. Photos of my family, but none that included Sarah. I left behind anything that felt like it belonged to both of us. The furniture, the kitchen stuff, the stupid decorative pillows she loved. I logged into our joint bank account and transferred exactly half the balance into my personal account. I sent an email to the bank requesting they separate the accounts entirely. I canceled the credit cards we shared. Every financial tie severed in under an hour. Then I called my younger brother Marcus. He lived in Seattle, about 3 hours north. I had not talked to him in a few weeks, so when he answered, he sounded surprised. "Joey, what is going on? I need a favor," I said. "Can I stay with you for a while?" There was a pause. "What happened?" "Sarah cheated. I am leaving. Today. Jesus." "Yeah, of course. Come up whenever. Stay as long as you need." Marcus did not ask for details. He did not tell me to slow down or think about it. He just said yes. That is what family does. I rented a small moving truck from a place 2 miles away and started loading my things. It did not take long. Turns out, when you strip away everything that is shared, you do not actually own that much. 2 trips up and down the stairs, and I was done. The last thing I did was take off my wedding ring. I placed it in the center of the kitchen table where Sarah would see it the second she walked in. No note, no explanation, just the ring sitting there like a period at the end of a sentence. I locked the door behind me, got in the truck, and drove away. I did not look back at the house. I did not feel sad or angry or regretful. I just felt free. At 3 o'clock, I was sitting in Mr. Harrison's office. He was in his 50s gray hair sharp suit, the kind of man who had seen every messy divorce scenario imaginable and was not fazed by any of it. I showed him the screenshots I had taken from Sarah's phone before she woke up. Pages and pages of messages between her and Dee. Timestamps, photos, everything I needed. Mr. Harrison leaned back in his chair and nodded. This is pretty straightforward. No kids, right? No kids. Assets are easy to divide. She does not have much ground to stand on here. We can move fast if you want. I want this done as quickly as possible. Then we will make it happen. I signed the paperwork authorizing him to represent me. He said he would have the divorce papers ready to file within 48 hours and that Sarah would be served by the end of the week. I wrote him a check for the retainer, shook his hand and left. On the drive to Seattle, I made my final cuts. I blocked Sarah's number, blocked her on every social media platform, set up an email filter so anything from her address went straight to spam. The only way she could reach me now was through Mr. Harrison. I did not want to hear her excuses. I did not want her apologies. I did not want anything. Some people might call that cruel. They might say I owed her a conversation, a chance to explain some kind of closure. But I did not see it that way. Sarah had 3 months to be honest with me. 3 months to decide our marriage was worth saving. She chose to lie instead. I did not owe her a single word. By the time I reached Marcus's apartment in Seattle that evening, I felt lighter than I had in months. He opened the door, took one look at me, and pulled me into a hug. "You good?" he asked. "Getting there," I said. And for the first time in 24 hours, I actually believed it. Sarah got home around 6 that evening. I know this because Mr. Harrison told me later that she called his office in a complete panic around 6:45. By then she had walked into an empty house, seen half the furniture missing, found the ring on the table, and realized I was gone. She tried calling me, over and over. The calls went straight to a blocking message. She sent texts that vanished into the void. She tried email. Nothing. I had erased myself from her life as completely as she had betrayed mine. According to Marcus, who still had mutual friends back in Portland, Sarah spent that first night calling everyone she could think of. My friends, her friends, my parents. She was frantic, asking if anyone had seen me, if anyone knew where I was. Most people did not. The few who did, like Marcus, were not telling. That was when Sarah made her first mistake. She took to social media. Her initial posts were concerned and worried. "Has anyone seen my husband Joey? He left without a word, and I am really scared something happened to him. If you know anything, please reach out." She included a photo of us from last Christmas, both of us smiling in front of the tree. People responded with sympathy. They shared the post. They sent her messages of support. For about 48 hours, Sarah played the role of the frightened, abandoned wife perfectly. Then the divorce papers arrived. A process server showed up at her door on Friday morning. She signed for the envelope, opened it, and found out that I was not missing. I was not in danger. I was divorcing her. And more than that, I had included copies of the text message screenshots as evidence of adultery. That was when Sarah lost it. She started posting again, but this time the tone was completely different. Long, rambling paragraphs about how I had abandoned her without any explanation. How we had a small disagreement, and instead of working through it like adults, I had just vanished. She painted herself as the victim of a cold, heartless husband who did not know how to communicate. She never mentioned the affair, not once. In her version of events, we had some minor marital spat, and I overreacted by ghosting her and filing for divorce. She made me sound like a monster. The posts got more and more unhinged. She talked about how much she had sacrificed for our marriage, how she had supported my career while neglecting her own needs, how I had always been emotionally distant and unavailable. She was rewriting history in real time, and people were eating it up. Some of our mutual friends, people who did not know the full story, started reaching out to me. The messages were all variations of the same theme. "What is going on? Why would you just leave like that? Sarah is devastated. You should at least talk to her." One guy I had known since college sent me a long text about how ghosting was never the answer, how I was being cruel and immature, how real men face their problems instead of running away. I did not respond. I did not owe him an explanation either, but the worst was when my mom called. "Joey, sweetheart, what is happening?" Her voice was worried, confused. Sarah called me crying. She said, "You left without saying anything." She said she does not even know why. I took a deep breath. Mom Sarah was cheating on me. For 3 months. I found out, and I left. That is the whole story. There was a long silence on the other end. Then quietly, "Oh, honey, I am so sorry." She did not tell you that part, did she? No. She made it sound like you just left out of nowhere. That is what she is telling everyone. My mom sighed. "Do you need anything? Are you okay? I am fine. I am staying with Marcus. I just need some time." "Okay. I love you." "Love you too, Mom." But not everyone believed me. Even after I explained, some people thought I was making excuses. They thought I was exaggerating or lying to justify my actions. Sarah had gotten to them first with her version, and once someone believes a story, it is hard to change their mind. For about 2 weeks I was the villain, the cold, heartless husband who abandoned his wife without a word. Sarah milked it for everything it was worth. She posted about her pain, her confusion, her heartbreak. She cried to friends and family. She made sure everyone knew how much she was suffering. And then Marcus decided he had had enough. My brother was not the type to get involved in drama. He usually stayed out of things, kept his head down, minded his own business. But watching people attack me while Sarah played the victim pushed him over the edge. He wrote a post on Facebook. It was long, detailed, and backed up with evidence. He explained that Sarah had been having an affair for 3 months, that I had found proof of the cheating, that I had not abandoned her randomly, but had made a conscious choice to protect myself from further manipulation. And then he included screenshots. Not all of them, but enough to make it very clear what had been happening. The post went viral within our social circle. Hundreds of comments, shares. People who had been defending Sarah suddenly went silent. Others started leaving comments on her posts, asking why she had not mentioned the affair, calling her out for lying. Within 24 hours, Sarah deleted everything. Every post, every photo, every trace of her meltdown. Her accounts went dark. But the damage was done. People had seen the truth. Her reputation, at least among the people we knew, was destroyed. I did not feel good about it. I did not feel victorious or justified. I just felt tired. All I had wanted was to walk away quietly, to let the marriage end, without turning it into a public spectacle. Sarah was the one who made it ugly. She was the one who could not accept that actions have consequences. 2 months later, I was sitting on the balcony of my new apartment in Seattle, drinking coffee and watching the sun rise over Puget Sound. It was a small place, 1 bedroom. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. No shared furniture. No memories of someone else. Just a clean slate. I had landed a job at a tech startup downtown. The work was interesting. The people were decent, and nobody knew anything about my messy divorce. That anonymity felt like a gift. I could just be Joey again. Not Joey the guy whose wife cheated, or Joey who ghosted his cheating wife. Just Joey. I started going to therapy twice a week. My therapist, Dr. Lynn, was a straightforward woman in her 40s who did not do any of that soft hand-holding stuff. She told me ghosting Sarah was not weak. It was self-protection. She helped me understand that I did not owe my cheater a conversation closure or anything else. The idea that you have to sit down and hash things out with someone who betrayed you is garbage. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is walk away. On weekends, I joined a hiking group. We would drive out to the mountains and spend the day on trails, not talking about much, just existing in nature. I met people who had no idea about my past. They just knew me as the quiet guy who always brought good trail mix and could identify birds. Life got simpler. I did not have to wonder if my partner was lying to me. I did not have to decode late-night texts or worry about where she really was. I just lived. And slowly that knot of anger and hurt that had been sitting in my chest started to loosen. The divorce was finalized 4 months after I left. Sarah tried to drag it out, tried to negotiate for more than her fair share, but she did not have any leverage. The evidence was clear. Mr. Harrison handled everything efficiently, and one afternoon I got a call telling me it was done. Signed. Official. I was no longer married. I stood on my balcony that evening, watching the sun set over the water, and felt something I had not felt in a long time. Peace. People kept asking me the same question. Friends, family, even strangers on the internet after Marcus's post went public. Who is really to blame? Sarah spent months telling everyone that I was the bad guy, that I had abandoned her without explanation, that I was cruel and cowardly for ghosting her instead of facing the problem. Some people agreed with her. They said that no matter what she did, ghosting was immature, that I should have sat down and talked it out like an adult. But here is what I learned. Sarah blamed me for not communicating, but she was the one who lied every single day for 3 months. She blamed me for leaving, but she was the one who broke our vows. She wanted closure, but she never gave me honesty. I did not owe her a conversation. I did not owe her a chance to manipulate me further. I did not owe her anything. Ghosting was not about being cruel. It was about protecting myself from someone who had already proven they could not be trusted. You do not owe closure to someone who did not give you honesty. I thought about that a lot in those early months. The guilt people tried to put on me for walking away. The judgment. The accusations that I was running from my problems. But I was not running. I was choosing myself. I was refusing to let someone who hurt me have any more access to my life. Sarah lost a husband who loved her, who trusted her, who would have done anything for her. She lost that because she was selfish and reckless, and thought she could have it all without consequences. And me, I found out who I was, when everything fell apart. I found out I was strong enough to walk away from something that was killing me. So who is really to blame? Maybe it does not matter anymore. What matters is I chose myself, and I would make that choice again every single time. If you made it this far, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to walk away from someone without looking back? Do you think I did the right thing, or should I have stayed and tried to work it out? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this story resonated with you, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear that it is okay to choose yourself. Do not forget to subscribe because I will be sharing more stories about the messy, complicated parts of life that nobody talks about. Thank you for listening. I hope you find the courage to protect your own peace, whatever that looks like for you. Take care of yourself out there.